Hey folks, it's Dave. Welcome to the basement. So it is a little early in May for a vinyl update, but I've been burning through the stuff in the TV played list, or stack or shelf or whatever you want to call it. And there's some stuff that I'm really excited to share with you. So I just wanted to get this video made, get it out there, and talk about it with you. First up though, I want to give a shout out to Steve Carlson, who I'm sure, well, it's obvious that most of you, if not all of you, who do subscribe and watch my videos, you know Steve. Super great guy. I've really enjoyed his videos for a long time now. And he gave me a shout out a little while ago, and that resulted in a bunch of new subscribers. So thanks to Steve for putting the word out, and thanks to all of you for adding a subscription and watching my videos and commenting. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. You know, I love sharing the music, and I love a lot of your channels I didn't know about myself. So love finding those channels, your channels, and seeing everything that you have to share and talk about. So again, thank you, Steve, and thank you everyone for watching and subscribing. So with that, let's talk about what you're here to see. So this first one was a band that I just, one of those things that pops up in your YouTube recommendations. I'd never heard of them before. Didn't know anything about them, and then one of their videos popped up, and I'm like, no, that's coming home with me. But it wasn't released yet, so I pre-ordered it off their Bandcamp page, and it came out in April on King Volume Records. And this is the debut album of a band called Castle Rat, called Into the Realm. And I mean, look at that cover, man. And equally on the backside. So Castle Rat is a doom metal band out of New York, female fronted, and that is the singer right there. And they play a very heavy, thoroughly Sabbath inspired sort of doom metal. The vocals, of course, female vocals, lots of reverb with the vocals, which is pretty cool. If you check out their Bandcamp page, they have issued their LP in a variety of different colors. I got the Count version, which I'm assuming that's supposed to be like blood, you know, Count Dracula and such. One thing that kind of irritated me, so I went ahead and pre-ordered this one. There was a couple other versions or variants that were already sold out. I pre-ordered this one, and like 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, something like that, they released this totally cool looking variation. It's like, come on, guys, you know, I get it. In fact, they even say right on there, you know, collect them all. But yeah, at 30 bucks a pop, I'm not gonna collect them all, guys. So, but it would have been nice if they had all the variations available at one time, so I could have ordered the one that was the coolest. But anyway, it's not about the color, right? We don't play the colors, we play the music. So yeah, like I said, very, very Sabbath-inspired doom. It's a very consistent album in that regard, except for one particular track, "Cry for Me," second track on side 2. It sort of breaks that mold, and it is much more. I hear a lot of Doors influence, at least to my ears, and her vocals, and God, her name's escaping me. Well, it's right on here. Jesus, Riley Pinkerton. She turns in more of a Grace Slick sort of performance. It's just really strong vocals, you know, a la Grace. But yeah, I'm really hyped on this album. If you're a fan of doom metal, and you're looking for new doom bands to check out, make sure to give Castle Rat a try. At least listen to some of their clips, or at the very least, it doesn't matter if you're into doom metal or not. Check out their videos, man. They're just total 70s sword and sorcery movie sort of. I mean, it's awesome. So yeah, this is Into the Realm by Castle Rat. Okay, I'm going to get into some of the Record Store Day stuff. So if you have already checked out the Record Store Day video that I posted, I didn't really talk about much regarding the albums as far as how they sound. So I'm going to do that now because I finally played them. Not all of them. I haven't got through all of them. I'm just going to talk about a couple. And the first one which was limited to 1,500 copies, is the debut album from SRC, or Scott Richard Case, just shortened to SRC. Originally came out in '68 on Capitol Records, and this is a Record Store Day release on Jackpot Records. And so yeah, Scott Richard Case, or SRC, was a psych rock band from Birmingham, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. And this, you know, this is not really an essential album for casual psych fans. But if you're a devoted fan, you're really interested in the obscure psych, this is something you want to pick up. And then for Michigan rock fans in general. And yes, I was probably skirting the line of criminal charges by not having a copy of this album in my collection until now. So yeah, I'm actually on multiple fronts happy to have this. The pressing, Jackpot Records, they did a great job with this. It's got rich, full volume, very quiet, so I'm very pleased. You know, sometimes it's hit or miss on these reissues, but they did a great job. Now, packaging-wise, it's black vinyl, doesn't come with anything but you know, original artwork and things like that on the cover. But that's fine. Again, we don't play the covers; we just play the music, right? And speaking of which, as far as the songs go, for me that I found most enjoyable, Black Sheep, the lead-off track, is kind of a melancholy sound to it. It's got a mellow organ tone. It's really kind of downbeat a little bit, but then right at the very next track, Daystar, it's much more upbeat. I would say almost borders on sunshine pop psych. That's a really good track. One Simple Task, the first track on side 2, it's got a pretty trippy sound to it. The organ, I mean, just listen to that. It reminds me a lot of like 70s psychotronic horror films. You know, the kind of the soundtrack, the backing organ music to that, kind of gothic, trippy sort of stuff. That was fun. And then Refugee has some really wild guitar towards the last half of the song. So yeah, I was very pleased with this album, very pleased with the pressing, and very happy to pick it up. So I think if you are you know, a hardcore psych fan or just a fan of Michigan rock, do yourself a favor and get a copy of the debut album from SRC. And next is another Record Store Day pickup. This is essentially a single or EP or whatever you want to call it from Garbage. This is Lie to Me. I think 2,500 copies this was limited to, and it contains 2 unreleased tracks on side a cover song on side B, and a remix of a track that was previously released, this time featuring Dave Grohl on drums. So yeah, as far as the music goes, of the unreleased tracks, the first one, Better Not Lie to Me, it's a really high energy track with a really great chorus, and I think this was probably the best track on the album. Not sure why this didn't make it to a previous album. It was pretty damn good. The next song, Revenge and Hurt, has a real sultry groove to it. Shirley's vocals are great, but you know, overall it was just kind of okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything really special. So now the cover track is Song to the Siren, which okay, so it was a Tim Buckley track, written by Tim Buckley, first performed by Tim Buckley, but first released by Pat Boone in '69, I think it was. But it was really made popular or popularized by This Mortal Coil in 1983, and that's what the kind of marketing for the cover of this particular cover is a cover of This Mortal Coil's version. Now that song was also covered by Sally Oldfield, Robert Plant, Third Eye Blind, dozens of others, but I think This Mortal Coil is probably where most fans of alternative rock were introduced to Song to the Siren. So this Garbage's version is lush. It's lovely. It's a very good cover. It doesn't really deviate much from This Mortal Coil version, but it is still nice to hear Shirley sing that one. So that was a good one. And of course, you know, Bad Boyfriend, the 23 remix was, you know, Dave Grohl on drums. Doesn't stray far, at least as far as I can tell from the original, but still enjoyable. But yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. I mean, I wasn't going to by any shape or means. Oh, you know, I guess I should show you the inside stuff. I'm a fan of Garbage. So when they come out, and they've been having a habit of coming out with these sort of EPs or singles with covers that on Record Store Day, Black Friday, and I'm picking them up. I'm just going to. So just because I'm a fan of the band, and you know, as a fan of a band, the things that you will do and the money you will spend on their stuff. So yeah, this is Lie to Me by Garbage. All right, one more Record Store Day thing, and this is Burned by Electrofiction. Originally came out in 1995 on Sire Records on CD only. This is the first time it was released on vinyl, and it was limited to something like 1,000 copies. I can't remember, something like that. So yeah, Electrofiction was a one-and-done band formed by Ian McCulloch and Will Sargent of Echo and the Bunnymen. And this was sort of a precursor to their 1997 Reformation, minus Pete DeFreitas, of course, who unfortunately perished in a motorcycle accident. So yeah, this came out on, or was released on this, they call it smoky white and black vinyl, but to me it looks like marble, white and black marble, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so here, let's do the inner real quick. So yeah, as far as the music goes, you know, okay, definitely Echo and the Bunnymen influence. You can hear that for sure. I mean, that just kind of goes without saying. Sister Pain is a really sweet post-rock sort of track. Kind of a neo-psych sound to it as well. I really enjoyed that song. Never has a great full guitar sound, really lush atmosphere. Too Far Gone is along the same lines. I really love the guitar tone on both of those tracks. Bed of Nails has great energy, and now there's just much more of a wall of sound to the guitar tone. So that was really enjoyable. You know, this is a really good album, and I'm kicking myself for not picking this up on CD sooner. I mean, you can get it cheap on CD, a couple bucks, but so to have it on vinyl though is really nice. This is really good pressing as well. So yeah, if you're a fan of Echo and the Bunnymen and you don't already have this, I mean, neither did I, but if you don't, definitely pick this up. It's worth your time. So this is Burned by Electrofiction. All right, you have enough of the Record Store Day stuff. Let's move on to something else. Let's do an anniversary album. So this came out in 1984 in May, and this was the debut album from the Bangles called All Over the Place. And like I said, it came out in 84 on Columbia. And the Bangles, now just prior to this, in 82, I think it was, they released an EP. I think they were still called the Bangs at that time. And since that EP was released, and after the EP came out, I guess I should say, their bass player, Annette Zelinis, starts with a Z, Annette Z, left the band and was replaced by the Runaways, or ex-Runaway, Mickey Steele. So yeah, love that Runaway connection. But anyway, so this album, you know, it wasn't much of a commercial success. I guess a moderate commercial success. I think it cracked the top 100. I'm not sure. Had no hit singles on it. But for me, the first track of the album, "Hero Takes a Fall," is my favorite track off this album. It's an enjoyable guitar-driven little rocker. But they also do a cover of "Going Down to Liverpool," which cover of the Katrina and the Waves song. That's a pretty good song as well. That's kind of I think that's probably most people's favorite off of this album. They also had the video for that song featured Leonard Nimoy, so Trekkies take note, which is pretty cool. I just think that kind of trivia stuff is pretty cool. So yeah, overall this has like a jangly guitar sound, which is what really made this enjoyable for me. And I think over time, as they gained more and more commercial success, they lost some of that jangly guitar sound. I think it just didn't take as much of a, you know, it wasn't as much in the forefront as they got more sort of pop oriented. But yeah, still, I think this is a pretty good album. If you are, most of you are probably familiar with the Bangles. If you're not familiar with their debut, give it a shot. I enjoyed it. Nice bit of jangly pop. So yeah, this is All Over the Place, debut album from the Bangles. This next one was a blind buy, and it was one of those things that I do to myself. For a couple of bucks, I picked it up based on the name and the cover art. And this came out in 1981 on RCA. This is Fixation by Robert Ellis Orrell. Yeah, so Robert Ellis Orrell was a songwriter, producer from Massachusetts, and and so his music here. This was his second album. Turns out, like I said, I didn't know anything about it prior to purchasing it, but as I did my research, this is his second album, and this is very typical 80s new wave power pop. Bits of ska here and there. Vocally, you could compare him to maybe Elvis Costello. Some standout tracks. Let me get this in here. Flip it over. Some standout tracks. Baby Go. Second track on side A is one of those ska-ish tracks. That was a very good one. Good energy. And Hitman is the first track on side B. Really good new wave track. Upbeat, fun. So I think if you're a fan of power pop and you don't know this album, it's worth a shot, worth a couple of bucks anyway. I thought it was pretty good. Nothing major, nothing groundbreaking. Again, it's not full of hits or anything like that, but could do worse for a couple of bucks. So yeah, this is Robert Ellis Orrell, Fixation. This is another blind buy. Based on the cover, and this turned out to be their debut and only album. This came out in 1983 on Atlantic. It's the self-titled album from Tin Angel. Normally I hate these timing strips, but when I came across this one, the cover and the record were cherry, so I thought for a couple of bucks, why not? So Tin Angel was an all-girl rock band out of Canada. Well, I say all-girl, but Zebra's Randy Jackson, not the other Randy Jackson, he contributed. He does some he plays on the album here and there. So it's primarily all-girl with Randy. So yeah, their sound is like this really upbeat, sort of positive energy kind of rock. I found it similar to maybe Pat Benatar. At times, maybe a little less, or a lot less so, but at times, sort of the Bangles. I hear traces of Heart here and there as well. Like, for example, Imagination, the second track on side one. Upbeat, great upbeat energy, great vocal harmonies, and that's kind of where I get that Bangles inspiration, or where I kind of hear the Bangles in the vocal harmonies here and there. Rearrange is the very next song on the album. Really happy energy sort of song. And Way of Life, second track on side B. Really good guitar sound. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It was a fun little album. And like I said, it's a little more edgier than pop rock, a little bit more edgier than power pop, but it's still very catchy, very hooky, good energy. It was fun, worth a couple of bucks. So yeah, this is the self-titled album from Tin Angel. All right, and the last album for today, this came out in 1980 on Carrera Records. This is Saxon's Strong Arm of the Law. Now, for those of you who are Saxon fans, you will notice that this is the 1982 repress, based on the cover, where the original is, or first press is white background. This is obviously not. So yeah, this is the band's third album, and it's got a track on here that's one of my favorite Saxon tracks, and that's Dallas 1 p.m. Very dark subject matter, but love that twin or the driving twin guitar sound. God, spit it out. Again, I just love that song. The title track is just a good bluesy song as well, and Heavy Metal Thunder is just a metalhead anthem. So super happy to have this album. It's not as good as Denim and Leather or Wheels of Steel, but you know, it's considered to be within their top 3 albums, so that kind of narrows it down. I'm still more partial to Crusader, but that's just me. So yeah, this is Strong Arm of the Law by Saxon. Well, that is it. I really appreciate you sticking through to the end of the video, and I really appreciate everybody who has subscribed, liked videos, and commented. That's really what I'm looking to get out of making these YouTube videos is the comments, the conversation. So if you have any opinions on any of the albums you saw today, please drop me a comment. Love to hear from you. Love to talk about it. And again, I just can't thank you enough for subscribing. And until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.